This is 1 in 36, a presentation of the Anderson Center for Autism, celebrating their centennial in 2024. 1 in 36 is a weekly show devoted to autism spectrum disorder.
Good morning and welcome to 1 in 36, the weekly talk show on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, Chief Development Officer at Anderson Center for Autism. And today, in addition to having two wonderful guests that are going to be talking with me on the show today, I want to announce that we are now in 2024, which is Anderson's centennial year. That's right. We have been around for 100 years. And while I will not be around the next 100, hopefully Anderson will be, because it's been a solid 100 years so far. Founded in 1924. We're just thrilled to still be here doing good things. And today we're going to talk with two of my colleagues at Anderson, Tracy Schober, who is the Director of New Program Development, and Pierce Langlois, hopefully I said that right, the ECHO Clinic Coordinator. And Tracy and Pierce are going to give us some updates and also some refreshers and information about our ECHO program, which we call ECHO Autism Anderson. So thank you, Tracy and Pierce, for being on the show today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. We're going to start with just a little background, as we usually do. Tracy, I know you and I have worked together for a long time, but if you wouldn't mind just giving our listeners a little sense of who you are, how long you've been with Anderson, and whatever else you want to share about your background. And then Pierce will go to you, and after that, we can dive into ECHO Autism Anderson.
Great. Thank you so much, Eliza, for that introduction. I am approaching my lucky number 13, year 13 with Anderson.
I'm saying that out loud. Well done.
I am.
Way to face fear.
So I'm very excited about being the ECHO Autism Anderson program lead as a part of my role here at Anderson. And I'm excited to say that I'm currently collaborating with stakeholders really to better understand the needs of individuals seeking non-traditional, innovative housing opportunities. And I'm actually working on that with Eliza. And I'm responsible for local and national outreach efforts, including presenting about our ECHO Autism program at a few national conferences this year, one of which Pierce will be presenting with me at CASP. I lead the committee assisting Anderson in completing the Student Exchange Visa Information System application, which will allow us to enroll student and exchange visitor programs, individuals. And then I lead an awesome team with our annual RAISE event, which is a resource fair, again, which is something that Pierce helps to work on with me in the New York Capital Region. And in addition to my Anderson responsibilities, I'm also in my research phase of my doctoral program, and excited to say that I'm focusing on housing. So it's very fitting with my position here at Anderson as well. And I'm also the current president of the Association of Directors of Development, Admissions and Marketing, and an Autism Society Greater Hudson Region board member. And then the most important thing is that I'm a parent of an adult child on the autism spectrum.
Thank you, Tracy. Wow, that's a lot. I was going to say, what do you do in your free time? But I think you probably covered that as well. So yeah, that's amazing. But knowing you and knowing how you work, I know that you pull in aspects of everything you do, whether it's directly associated with Anderson or more on the personal side of your life, or in your volunteerism as a board member, or in your educational life. You pull it all together. And because of that, I feel like you're sort of a walking library of references for anything anybody needs. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being on the show today. Pierce, no need to have, more things than Tracy. It's not a competition. But would you mind, I know you joined us more recently, would you mind giving us a little background on yourself?
Of course. I don't, Tracy, I'm definitely learning a lot from Tracy, considering she wears a ton of hats over here, and she's always, working extremely hard. I'm Pierce Langlois. I am the ECHO Clinic Coordinator here. That's my main role. I do tend to help out, like Tracy said. I go to events. I'm helping out with CVG, and I work on the RAISE events,
the expo,
when that comes up. But generally for ECHO, I handle day-to-day questions about the ECHO program. I'm that first point of contact for anyone who's interested in ECHO, or participating in it. I try to act as like kind of the liaison between program attendees and Anderson itself. So that way, I can be that connector there. I have a BA in psychology from Montclair State. I'm before I came here, I wasn't really well versed in the autism side of things, but I've really been pushing to take those educational opportunities within ACA and the echo autism community to try and really enhance my skills and knowledge in that field of autism services. My career prior to this, I've always been super health focused. I was working in physical therapy offices before here, and I really know the power that giving people a safe place to go and try to be their best selves in is very powerful, and that really, and moving here has really pushed me further professionally and as well as a person.
That's great. Thank you, Pierce. One of the things that I also have learned about you just from watching you come in and do presentations to in meetings that I've been in, which have been very informative, is that you seem to me to have a very sort of natural instinct when it comes to what's going to be easier and efficient and more engaging for the participant, whether it's an echo session or probably anything else. I've had conversations with you, and I've also overheard conversations between you and members of the development team that I work with. Mm-hmm. Directly about, the length of a survey, the types of questions, the way to get people really sort of hooked in right away to want to participate, especially when it comes to Echo Autism Anderson, because it's, hey, everybody, it's free. Yeah. It's free. It's available to all. So is that something that you developed over your earlier career before you joined Anderson, and now you find yourself like applying it here?
I appreciate you saying that about me first. It's definitely something I've learned as I go, because it's difficult to, especially with a program that we have to get out in front of people and they have to be interested. You don't want to have that high barrier to entry for anything, right? And that can really hold people back. And working in those physical therapy offices, a lot of people I learned there don't know what it entails, what goes with it. And it's very important when you're thinking about these things to, make sure that it's easily accessible. It's not too much. Everyone who's joining our echo sessions already has a ton on their plates. They're doing 45 different things. They're helping people out this here, there, and the other place. So if there's like 40 questions on a survey, they're probably not going to want to do that. So, mm-hmm. You want to make it easy. It seems pretty simple when you say it out loud, but,
Well, I think it's easy to get sucked into the kinds of information that we would love to have people share with us. But what I liked about listening to you present some of this is that you just seem to innately understand that it's not going to be good information if the person giving it is annoyed that they're having to give that much information. It's going to be tainted most likely. So it's probably better to kind of be concise and try to really hone in on what you need to get while not putting that person in a position of having to spend so much time on the survey aspect. I just also want to say welcome to the club, Pierce, because I also joined Anderson, albeit 17 years ago, but I joined with very little experience or knowledge about autism. And one thing I can say about Anderson, it is a great place to learn so much about autism, autistic individuals, families, all the different perspectives. And so that's my little subtle way of segueing into what is Echo, Tracy, and what is Echo Autism? And then if you could carry us all the way through what is Echo Autism Anderson?
All right. Well, I'll start with what ECHO stands for. So ECHO stands for Extension for Community Healthcare Outcomes. Easiest way to describe it, and Pierce, when I'm finished with my explanation, if you want to add anything, please feel free. ECHO is a virtual case-based learning platform, first and foremost. It really aims to move knowledge, not people. So oftentimes you'll hear us talking about moving knowledge, not people. All teach, all learn. It's really focused on that. We utilize Zoom to connect participants really from around the world. The ECHO model, when it's broken down, it includes a case presentation to a hub team of experts. It includes a community participants. So as you mentioned earlier, it's free. So anyone from the community can join in to any ECHO that we we would be providing, or echoes that are out in the community that we are not running. We also have a Q&A section in each echo and suggestions wrap that case presentation up to help support a case presenter as well as participants that have joined the session. So a participant might not be presenting the case, but they may say, wow, that sounds like a case I have, and I can take some of those suggestions and tools back into my environment to help an individual with autism. Every session, again, all teach, all learn, it's really coupled with a didactic. So the didactic is about a 15 to 20 minute presentation, and it's on a topic identified through participant surveys. So Pierce has done a really great job with helping to reduce the size of those surveys and really get great feedback. And I think he's going to give us some information later on some of the statistics from surveys.
Very impressive. We've got about a minute left. You may not get to all of it, Tracy, but just in the last minute before our break, is there something unique that you just maybe real quickly can kind of shed light on about Echo Autism Anderson, as opposed to, I know there's Echoes, and then I know there's Echo Autism programs. What about Echo Autism Anderson?
So Echo Autism Anderson, we changed our name from Echo Autism, and our first session was Autism Best Practices. Well, we're always going to use best practices. So we thought it would be a better vision for us to be able to have our overarching umbrella be Echo Autism Anderson, and then we'll have individual echoes that come out as projects underneath the overarching program. So that's the switch to the change in the name.
All right. Well, from a marketing standpoint, because that's what I do, right? Marketing, PR, I will say that what you can think about now is that Anderson, when you hear Anderson, best practices, that's what we're always doing, right? So you don't need to be redundant there. And I love it for that reason. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to hear some really amazing stats from Pierce and more about Echo Autism Anderson and what's coming up in the future. This is 1 in 36, the weekly talk show on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, and we'll be right back.
If I could be you.
And you could be me.
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
to get inside
each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Somewhere there's a river rushing through the woods while someone rushes through their day. There's a mountain looking up at the sky while someone looks down at their phone. A trail waiting to be walked while someone waits for a latte. This world is full of somewheres waiting for someone just like you. So go see yours at 154 national forests and 20 grasslands. And to learn more, visit nationalforest.org. The National Forest Foundation. See your somewhere.
And now, 1 in 36 continues on 100.7 WHUD. This is a weekly community affairs program presented by the Anderson Center for Autism.
Welcome back to 1 in 36, the weekly talk show on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, and I'm talking today with two of my colleagues from Anderson, Tracy Schober, Director of New Program Development, and Pierce Langlois, Echo Clinic Coordinator. And we've gotten some background on both Pierce and Tracy and some background on Echo Autism and Echo Autism Anderson. Remember, when you hear Echo Autism Anderson, you're automatically going to be connecting and being a part of moving knowledge and best practices forward and sharing all of what so many people have to offer. Remember, it's free. Remember, it's accessible. It's on the Zoom platform. Anyone can participate. And at the end of the show, we'll make sure we give out all the information about how people can sign up and get more information. But Pierce, I'm going to throw it to you at this point. I've also had the pleasure of hearing you present on some of the statistics, which are really remarkable in terms of the dissemination of the knowledge, how many people were participating, how many people are participating. Can you give us some kind of pick and choose whatever you want to do, but it might be hard to summarize, but share with us some of what the stats are telling you.
No, yeah, of course. So what you're saying, low barrier to entry is our whole thing with the Echo Autism. And, it kind of showed through that last year's portion of data. So right now we have 65 ECHO participants that are signed up to be regular attendees and regular participants in the sessions, which means that, they want to be notified and try to make every ECHO session that they can. We did have about 250 unique participants last year. That averaged to about 22 attendees per session. That is well over our goal starting out. I think our goal was around 10 attendees, 10 participants per session. So,
wow.
That's almost doubling it, which is very good. And obviously we want to improve that number this year. We speaking to the barrier to entry and it being global, we really enjoyed the fact that we got a lot of attendees from outside of the United States or from, varying countries that may not have the amount of support for autistic individuals. And, a couple names from those. We had somebody present as a case presenter from Slovakia. We had people attend from Tasmania, Zambia, Chile, from Puerto Rico, and across the United States from coast to coast. It was really cool to see all these different people and everyone who's really working hard towards the shared goal be a part of our ECHO community. Speaking on those individuals, because we had that ECHO best practices focus for this project, the attendees were mostly people who work in schools. Their specialities have a decent mix with early education, early childhood, elementary education, and high school education being the really main large categories that we saw attending our sessions. And the experience for those attendees varied extremely. Most of them that we had were about 6 to 10 years, but it from zero to 1 year of experience, or from 15 to 20 years of experience. It was all pretty much right there, about the same amount of people that attended, and that's really cool. We love to see there's a variety of people joining us and learning.
That's great. Those are some really impressive numbers. It's always nice when you exceed your goal. And then it also helps, I think, continue your baselines in terms of resetting what's possible. When I first learned about ECHO, to be honest, it took me a little bit to sort of understand the model and how it was all going to work. But I would just say that finally what did it for me was I went to one, I attended one, and it is hard to understand it unless you take that first step and attend one. And I love that there's the option to sign up to just get the notifications for everyone. It's easy peasy. You just get the reminder and the calendar posting with the link, and then you're right there. But it is very unique in my mind in that it brings together so many different perspectives and so many areas of expertise. And there is a rhythm to it. There's the sections of, this person's presenting, then there's feedback, then there's sort of the hub team kind of gives their input. But I feel like there's something for everyone, because there's also that Q&A. And the other thing I like about it, and this goes out to those folks who really do enjoy listening and taking in information, but aren't necessarily going to be the ones raising their hand or speaking or asking a lot of questions. It's also okay to just be there to take in what's being shared. Correct? Tracy, yeah. Would you agree, I guess, that there's something for everyone? There's really no reason why somebody wouldn't get something out of an ECHO session?
Absolutely, Eliza. I lead the session, and every session I learn something new. Something new. I'm taking notes. It's really it's amazing. And also just to see I know Pierce gave us some statistics on, who is coming, but to see the individuals that are on the screen asking the questions, interacting, those who aren't comfortable being able to type in the chat a question or a suggestion, something that might have worked for them in another setting. It's really a great community.
That's great to hear. That's really great to hear. We talk about it all the time, most recently since COVID started, right? That the use of virtual communities, virtual meetings and something has been, not always perfect and not always ideal. But in this case, it really has eliminated barriers that just, it's still really hard to get a meeting with a hub team of experts together where you can have people from Tasmania, interacting in person with people from New Jersey for a work meeting. That's probably not going to happen. But so this is great. Tracy, I see you want to say something else.
So just to piggyback off of that, it's amazing to hear that there are some countries where there's maybe in an entire country a handful of experts that can help with solving an issue and make a better program for individuals. And so this is an opportunity for them to tie into that. This is a resource. It's a free, and I can't emphasize enough, it's a free resource for everyone around the world.
Great. And on that note, let's throw it to Pierce. I think it's probably you who can share with our listeners all the different ways they can get information, sign up, see the schedule, see what's coming. Can you give us a couple of places you want people to go for more information?
Yeah, of course. So the main place to find us right now is on the Anderson website. There is a drop down where it brings you directly to our Echo page. So essentially you would go to the Anderson website, www.andersoncenterforautism.org. You go to the autism community dropdown on the top, and you go to the bottom tab there, and it says Echo Autism Anderson. You click on that. It's going to bring you to a page. It gives you a nice view of exactly what's going on, some of the history behind Echo, when our next session is, and then it has a link to join. We will have, with this new iEcho system, we will have searchability on there at some point. I don't believe it's there because it's the Echo Communities, which is above us. The umbrella above us is creating that. But the best way to go would be directly through the website. You click on that link, you'll register an account. You only need like your name and an email, and then you'll start getting automatic emails regarding when the next Echo session is, what the title of the didactic is, and you'll get those reminders automatically throughout the future. So we sign up once, and you got pretty much nothing else to do except sit back, and you'll get those invitations.
Sounds great. And Pierce, what is the next date and the next topic? Do you know?
Yes, the next date is this Thursday, January 18th, 2024. The didactic title for that is Overcoming Barriers in the Transition to Adulthood. And I did want to mention too, for this Echo specifically, it's every third Thursday of the month.
Every third Thursday. And from what time to what time Eastern time?
From 12 to 1:30 p.m.
From 12 to 1:30. Grab yourself a lunch to sit and hang out with at your desk and join the Echo. It's every third Thursday. One last question I have for you, Pierce, about the logistics. Are these recorded? And if so, is there a way to access previously hosted Echoes?
So as of right now, they are not. They are recorded for personal use, but they are not publicly available. As recordings to go back. We do that because we want to protect the case presenters' PHI for the individuals they're presenting on. But, depending on how things go in the future, again, we'd have to speak to the Echo Communities. That could be an option, but as of right now.
Well, that makes perfect sense. But all the more reason to get them on your calendar now, sign up for the information, and try to make as many as you can. The other nice thing about it is that you're going to start interacting with some of the same hub team members. You'll start to get to know Tracy and Pierce, and they can be a resource for anybody who's participating as well. If there's something that you missed, a topic that you really want more information on, chances are somebody on the Anderson and on the Echo Autism Anderson side of things is going to be able to help you get in touch with a resource. So I thank you both for all that information. Pierce, was there one more thing?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. One of the cool things about that new iEcho platform is that there is a discussion tab that does sit there regularly. So you're able to directly contact me, and I can get that question over to one of our hub team experts very quickly, and we can get a response. So say you miss, the overcoming barriers and the transition to adulthood session, you could put a discussion question in there and somebody will get back to you with an answer relatively quickly.
Well, that's perfect and great that came out. I did not know that. So that question was completely sincere. And then you answered it right in the moment. Couldn't be better than that. Tracy and Pierce, this is really exciting. It's been fun watching our involvement at Anderson with Echo. kind of take off and get started, and your stats are showing us that it's really successful and there's more to come. So thank you both for being on the show today to talk more about it, and best of luck in the future. Remember, go check it out on Anderson's website, andersoncenterforautism.org, and go to the drop down for Anderson Autism Community and find ECHO. You'll get all the information you need. And Tracy Schober and Pierce Langlois, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Anytime. Thanks.
This is 1 in 36, the weekly talk show on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, and remember, Anderson cares.
You've been listening to 1 in 36, a weekly presentation of the Anderson Center for Autism, celebrating their centennial in 2024. Join them for another edition of the show at this time next weekend.